me, Molly, and hopefully you're watching me live, but if not, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This actually is an excellent class to take before bed. Now, if you don't know me, I am a strength and conditioning and performance coach, and what I've really learned over the years is that as hard as you may work in the gym, as hard as you work when you put that effort in, the grind, the sweat, all of that good stuff, or maybe not so good stuff, depending on who you are. It's all worth nothing if you don't take the time to recover, because that is when the magic happens for your body. And taking care of it, making it feel good, that is all stuff that is beyond value when it comes to just living life and enjoying it. So this class is all about taking care of your body. We're going to kind of juice up some of the good joints, the feet, the hips, the shoulders, and these three in combination, I feel, really cover your bases as far as feeling good and mobile. Stiff feet, stiff ankles don't feel very good. Stiff hips don't feel very good. And stiff shoulders certainly don't feel very good. And all three of these areas seem to be pretty attacked by the way we live our daily life. We do a lot of sitting, we do a lot of shoe wearing, we do a lot of hunching and texting. So our shoulders and our hips and the feet spend a lot of time cramped up in our day-to-day life. So hopefully you will enjoy our kind of massage and mobility and movement journey today that we take with those joints. You can learn a little something and just spend a little bit of time with me, because this is just me here, and I am not maybe like your typical class teacher. I am definitely a little more down to earth. So hopefully you can feel like we're doing this together. You feel like you have a friend and a supporter on your fitness journey wherever you are. And without further ado, let's get started. So a couple important things. One is I am barefoot. Okay, we want access to those feet. So feet are gonna be out of their socks, out of their shoes today. And then second thing is, if you need something under your knees, a little bit of cushion, we will be doing some kneeling, half kneeling work today. So I have a folded up blanket. I also have, these are pretty cheap on Amazon. We dreaded Amazon these days, but these are great pads for helping anything that's on the floor that you need to cushion for. There's some other applications as well, but that is a good way for everybody to really use them. So let's start. You're going to get comfortable. If that includes sitting with your blanket, go ahead and do so. And we're going to take one foot up so we can get easy access to it with both our hands. You can also sit in a chair for this if it's more comfortable for you. And what we want to do is grab our big toe. We're going to pull it back, and what you'll feel on the bottom of your foot, once you pull back on that big toe, you're going to see or feel, or both, this piece of kind of fascia popping out very, very strong here. That's your plantar fascia. And we're going to take knuckles of our other hand. We're going to start to softly massage up and down the length of that plantar fascia you feel popping out. And the goal here is to just slowly warm it up. We're introducing some friction, which is going to warm things up physically. Warm liquid, it's going to flow. Warm liquid. So just like honey, you warm it up, it's a lot easier to pour and flow. And we want to flow and pour. And depending on where you're at, if you've never scrubbed your bottoms of your feet before, it might feel a little crunchy in here. It might feel a little like bubble wrap. Or if you've done it a lot, it could feel quite supple. And the goal is just to work until you feel like that's good. Okay, it's about as supple as it's gonna get. I'm not gonna get any more out of it. And then we're gonna move up. So ball of the foot, right up here in this big pad. We're going to take both our thumbs under your middle toe there, and we're going to push down into the pit of the ball of the foot, and we're going to curl those other toes around. Get the bones of the foot to wrap around. Really mobilizing all of those while we push into the center. And then let's move it along to our toes. And we're going to take that toe and we're going to twist and pull each toe individually. You can start with the big toe or the little toe, and you're going to wrap your fingers around and like you're trying to pull meat off the bone. Squeeze and pull and stretch out that toe. And then move down or up the line of toes there, cleaning them off, cleaning the meat off the bone. Pull, pull, pull. And working down. And to the last little toe. Finally squeezing and pulling. Then let's take those fingers, all your fingers, and you're gonna weave them in between like you're holding hands with your foot there. Get the knuckles right up into the knuckles of the toe. Start with just settling into that stretch. Stretching those toes out can certainly be a new experience if you've never done it before. And when it starts to feel a little better, not so shocking, let's start to move and mobilize those toes. You can stretch them back and give them a little roll side to side, all the while keeping them spread by using those fingers to spread them. And then finally, squeezing your fingers together and pulling like you're gonna pull your toes all the way off until your hand comes free. And then take the top of the foot and we're gonna pull that skin down, all the way down over the toes. Again, like you're trying to pull it off. Trying to get all this friction and skin slide and movement into the top of the foot. And this might feel a little burny, like how when your kids used to do that. It's okay. We want good skin slide because if we don't have elastic, slidey skin, we're essentially just wearing a very tight bodysuit, and that is not very comfortable. Now to finish off this foot, let's take it back up. You're gonna wrap your hands around the toes so you can pull them towards your face. You're gonna put the heel into your other palm so you can push the heel away. And I want you to twist like you're trying to wring water out of a rag. Twist that foot up, and then you can unravel the other way. So when you pull the toes towards the face and push the heel away, you'll notice the foot curls up, twists up. Ooh, I got a nice pop in there. A little release of some gases in the joints. That's good. That means fluid's moving around. That's what I want. Okay, let's compare our feet, our stretched foot and our unstretched foot. See if we could see a difference, see if we can feel a difference. I see a difference in the spreadings of my toes. The toes on my work side are a little more, got a little more space there. You should be able to see between your toes. So if they are glommed together, do more of this. All right, let's start on the other foot now. So we're gonna do the same thing. Crank back that big toe and start working that plantar fascia top to bottom. Start gentle. We're just trying to warm up here. Don't want to break anything. This is not the goal. The goal is restore. Don't tear down. Keep working those knuckles. Feel that heat start to build up. The more friction we create, top to bottom. And as you keep going, you can adjust the pressure, the angle. And having warmed up that plantar fascia, let's go to the center of the ball of the foot, pushing both the thumbs into the center there. Push, 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 push. And curl. And let's get into cleaning and stripping each toe individually, pulling that meat off the bone, all those little fascial endings, controlling those toes, getting a nice little stretch and squeeze. Keep moving it down, moving it down. Each toe gets its own stretch. I don't know if you heard that, but I just got a big pop out of that toe. Now let's get our hands, fingers in between the toes and stretching them out. It feels good getting space between my toes. And get it. Stretch back and the wiggle forward. Stretching back, wiggling it around. Getting those toes all around. Excellent. And to finish off those toes, we're gonna squeeze and pull, 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 squeeze, squeeze, squeeze until your hand is free. Let's get that skin slide on the top of the foot. Just pulling that skin all the way down over the knuckles of the toes. And then finally, both hands on the foot, and we're gonna wring it out like a rag. Pushing and pulling, pushing the heel away, wrapping the toes in, pulling them towards, and then the opposite. Nice movement in the ankle joint, and our feet should be feeling very nicely warmed up. Supple. Give it a lick. Can we stretch our toes? Fan them out. Can you squeeze them together? Can you point? Nice. So now we're gonna move it up. Feet nice and mobilized. Let's take it to the hips. I'm just gonna give my butt a little rest on the blanket here. I'm gonna have my hands behind me and we're going to have each leg at a 90-degree angle. So when I'm looking down here, I want to make sure that this is a right angle, like the square edge of a box, and that this is looking like the square edge of a box. My hands behind, I'm gonna push my knees down into the ground and then lifting my knees up but keeping my heels on the ground. I'm gonna pivot up and over, pushing my knees down into the ground on the other side. Push them down into the ground, be active in this 90-90 mobilization here. We're gonna switch side to side. Nice exhale and push. Now, if this is feeling comfortable for you with your hands back and you would like to take it up a notch, we can take it to hands off the ground, Keeping the heels down, sit back through your butt. Really push your butt down to the ground as you switch sides to make sure you're not scooting forward, slowly walking forward on your pelvis. When I push this knee down, I can really feel that inner hip here opening up. I'm gonna do 2 more. And then we're gonna jazz it up a little bit. Now, if you opted for no hands, we're gonna bring the hands back on the next one. So I'm gonna go over to the side here. I've got my hand on the ground behind me. This inside arm is gonna reach up, and then I'm gonna push those knees down into the ground, squeezing my hips forward and reaching that arm up over my body. I've got a nice stretch going all the way down my side from top to bottom. Slowly bring it down, slowly rest the hips down, no plopping here. We're gonna flop it over, 90-90 again, your heels stay in contact with the floor, and we're gonna reach up. We're gonna push those knees down into the ground, squeeze those hips up. And switching sides. Take a big inhale up. We're gonna do one more. Big reach. Take it down to the center, and we can stretch our legs out here. Now I want you to don't go as wide as possible. I'm really trying to feel the stretch, right? Like we usually try to just push those stretches as hard as we can. Instead, take it to where you can feel both your sit bones on the ground. You feel almost like a snowman, where your bottom ball is your hips, your middle ball is your chest, and your top ball is your head. And you want to be stacked like a snowman, one on top of the other, right? If the head is forward on a snowman, it'll fall right off. So you want to be stacked like a snowman, wide as we can comfortably be, maintaining our stack. And then let's just loosen up those hips, internal, external rotation. I'm gonna think about pivoting my kneecaps in and out. And we're just gonna do a nice wobble, loosen it up. Let those feet relax and flail around. See if you can get some movement out of your thighs, your quads, and again, nice and neutral through the spine. We're not translating this to rounding forward. Okay. Hopefully these guys are feeling wobbly, loose. Maybe we feel a little bit of a burn. That's fine. Slow it down. To make this easy, we're gonna put our hands under the pit of our knee, pick those knees up so we can bring them into our chest. And this is where we're gonna get our half kneeling. So if you want that blanket, you want that squishy thing under your knee. So let's take it to the next level of opening up from a half kneeling position. So I've got my knees down on the blanket. You can rest your feet down, you can tuck them. It's okay either way, whatever helps you feel more stable and secure, comfortable. That's what we want to go for today. We're going to put one foot forward, and I want to make sure that I've got my heel kind of right under my knee there. And I'm also staying nice and tall. We're thinking about that snowman. Head is over the chest, is over the butt. And I want to make sure we're going to drive forward, feeling this hip open. I don't want to lean forward because that's going to change where I feel the stretch. So I want to make sure I'm driving forward with my hips. And I should feel this opening up, even traveling down to my knee, all the way down that quadricep. I like hands on the hips. That's a nice place for me to rest them, but you can do what feels good. Some people like to go here. Now, if you want a little extra stretch through that quad, we're gonna lay that back foot down and I want you to push it actively, like you're trying to keep through the floor. Push that hip down as we keep stretching the hips forward. Squeeze this butt cheek. Nice big inhale and relax. Let's come on out. We'll change sides. Bring both knees down. Make sure that heel is underneath or stacked. We're going to start by driving the hips forward. And squeezing that butt cheek. You want to stay nice and tall. Don't want to lean forward. I mean, even if you do that here, you feel the stretch and then lean forward. Feel how that changes. You no longer feel it in your hips when you do that. So staying nice and tall. We're not overextending, just neutral. And I'm going to go for the extra push, laying down my back foot flat and pushing it down into the ground. Push, push, push into the ground. Squeeze your butt. And then we can relax and hopefully sink a little bit deeper. Again, we're noticing things. So let's think about my noticing a difference between my left side and my right side. This can give you clues to help you out in the future with your training or further mobilizations. So now that we've kind of braced, prepared the hips, let's take it. We're gonna use something like a wall. You don't have to use a wall, of course, but I do like the wall. We're gonna do some hip carves. So for this as well, I'm going to have my knee on my squishy thing, and I'm gonna stand right next to the wall. So what I want is kind of the wall is blocking me. I can't lean. Well, this is a closet door, so I suppose I can lean. If I show on this wall here, you can see. But, so I want to be close to the wall, so I'm not able to lean into the wall. That is the key here. So sitting up here on this wall, nice and close. And the goal is to be from a straight up and down position here. So I also don't want you leaning into the wall to set up for this. The wall is just there to give us a reminder that, oh, I'm leaning, I'm touching the wall. We're going to brace that core, shoulders low, spine nice and neutral. So you want to kind of have this feeling of pulling your belly button up slightly, just a little bit. And we want to have our eyes looking right down between our hands. We're going to start by picking up the outside away from the wall, knee into the chest. And what I want to see happen is only the hip is going to go in a circle. So just watch here. Here's a nice one. See how my back stays nice and straight? Now I'm going to show you what I don't want to see. You notice how much of my back gets involved? So if you have something, sorry to disturb you. So if you have something like a yoga block or a ball, might be really tricky, but just something to balance on top of your back, or you can watch in a mirror, something to keep you accountable so you realize when you're using your back and when we're using our hips. Because we really want to isolate this. This should feel like hip work. Isolate this into our hips. So we have 3 basic movements. We're about to get started with them. Let me just go over the 3. The first one is flexion, where we're going to bring our knee into our chest. The second one is abduction, where we're going to bring our knee out to the side. And the third one is extension, where we're going to bring our knee back. And then we go back from extension to flexion. Abduction to the side and extension to the back. So nice and slow. Control your core. Front, side, and back. Let's go through one more round. down, turning around. Switch side. So I'm nice, aligned, straight up and down with my wall. My core is engaged in order to keep that spine neutral. We're gonna start by picking up into flexion. Keep the core neutral. I don't wanna feel my spine move. The goal is not to have the biggest movement in the room. The goal is to have the smoothest, most controlled movement in the room. So into the chest, out to the side, kick it to the back, and bring it back into the chest. Let's do one more. Out to the side, kick it back, and into flexion. Let's turn it around. We're gonna try and do reversing. So instead of front, side, back, we're gonna do back, side, front. Switching back to the first side here. Neutral spine, engage the core. And this time we're gonna start by pushing that knee all the way back. Engaged core, no change in the spine. Out to the side, almost like you're trying to clear a high fence. Finishing in the chest and pushing it back. Extend out to the side. And in, last one. Push it back. Side. Let's try it on the other side. That reverse circle. And these hip cars, controlled articulated rotation, fancy word for joint circle. These can be tricky to get the hang of. This is definitely something that requires maybe a little more internal processing than other exercises. Mirrors help a lot with this. And tools like the wall or a yoga block balanced on your back also really help with this. So let's go for this side, engaged core, neutral spine. And we're gonna go back, extension first, out to the side, abduction, and in flexion. To the back, to the side, front, one more, back, side, and front, and resting. Okay. I'm gonna come off the wall a little bit, but we're gonna stay in the quadruped position. It's time to hit the last of the 3 joints before we start to integrate them. So from our quadruped position, we're gonna take one arm, reaching it underneath and all the way through. You can rest that shoulder down on the ground. And if you want an extra stretch, take that top arm and crawl it up over. Nice deep breath. And one more. And slide that hand back. And take a deep breath in as we open up and reach for the ceiling. So we're gonna inhale. Reach, 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 reach for the ceiling. Oh, I got my back to pop. Let's do the other side. Take it down, reach through. All the way down to the floor. Make sure you can push your hips forward a little bit so your hips are right over your knees. Crawl that top arm. Let's take a couple deep breaths. Sliding that hand back. And let's inhale. open all the way up. Take the hands down, and we're gonna reach through side to side, just working that reach. We like static stretches, but we like dynamic even more, where we get to just move. Our bodies really thrive on that. One more each side. And then finally, lower yourself down to the ground in whatever way is comfortable. I have to move my microphone a little bit for this, so I don't sound like a muffly mess. Now, laying down on the ground here, can relax the legs. Sure, hips are neutral, shoulders are neutral. I like to personally fold my arms and put my forehead on the back of my hand, so I'm not smashing my face into the back of the floor, but personal preferences, whatever feels good to you. If you want to use your little blanket here and sit like so, that is fine as well. So I'm just gonna prop my head up so I can talk you through this, but when you're doing these, I want you to keep your head down and neutral, okay? So other than that, you're going to follow my directions here. So we're going to reach one arm forward, the other is our rest or is just out to the side in a neutral way, palm down. We're gonna reach that arm up and forward, and then it's like you're holding a cup of water and you don't want to spill it. We're gonna reach that hand all the way back towards your hip. Thumb is still up, I'm still holding my cup of water. Now that I'm back here at my hip, I'm gonna pour the water out and scoop up a new cup of water and lift it up. And again, all the way back without spilling it. When we get to the hip, tilt, pour it out, and then scoop up, gliding along the floor, a new one. So now I'll go with my head down so you can see. Reach, taking it back to the hip, pour, and scoop. I've got two more. And when we finish this one, let's try going backwards. So a cup of water, reverse scoop, pick up, to front. Reverse scoop, pick up, to front. One more, reverse scoop, pick up. And we'll switch sides to the other arm, starting with reaching forward for that cup of water. Take it back to the hip, don't spill it. Pour it out and glide along the floor, scooping up a new one. 2. And pour. 3. And pour. Now when we get to the top, let's reverse scoop. Water to the front. 2. Water to the front. And last one. 3. And relaxing. Okay, hopefully now the shoulders also feel pretty warmed up. We gave everything a little bit of work. They should be feeling warm, right? Physically from working those muscles in our cars. So now we can integrate. Let's turn it over onto our back. we're gonna start off with a glute bridge variation that engages the shoulders and the hips together. So we want to have our feet about hip width apart, and I call these robot arms. I got this from my friend Erica, where your elbows are back down into the ground, but your forearms are up. Boop, boop, robot, okay? We're gonna push those elbows down, shoulders down, lift the butt up, and then I'm gonna reach up and over with one of my shoulders, and I wanna reach over so I've got my bicep to my ear, and I'm pushing through both heels to really open up those hips, and I've got a robot arm on the other side. Then you'll bring it all the way back down, elbows and hips together, and we'll do the other side. Lift up the hips, reach up and over, bicep should be by your ear, full extension. And back down. We're gonna reach over for 8 more. Let's up and reach, bicep to ear. Big inhale. And 2. 3. 4. And 5. 6. 2 more. And 1 more, last one. And bringing it down. You want to hold those hips into your chest, give them a little bit of hug, a little bit of a wiggle. Hopefully that felt pretty good, and one of my favorite for warming up and cooling down. So let's take it, roll over onto your side now. And start by stretching out your legs long. You can use your bottom arm for a pillow here. Stretch those long legs out, or whatever length legs you have. Stretch them out long, and then take your top leg and bring it up into your chest. And now I'm gonna take this bottom arm, using it as a hook on that pillow, and I can rest my head down on the ground. Now this top arm, I wanna keep this knee down on the ground, so this bottom arm is gonna hold it there. And then this top arm, I'm gonna reach forward like I'm reaching to you. Hello. And then we're gonna circle all the way around. You can drag your fingers along the floor, drag, 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 until you end up on the other side, shoulder open. And then keep going, around, 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 until you roll back. Hello, forward again. Big circle, you get the idea with the shoulders. I'm gonna do one more round. But we're gonna pause right here on the open side. Now, if you want some extra stretch, we're gonna stretch out that top leg. Keep the foot on the floor, and if you want even extra, we're gonna reach down, grab that foot, pull it back to the ground. So you should be in a very full pretzel. Take that big breath in, and exhale. We'll release and roll to the other side. This is my favorite stretch, the open book stretch, and this is just a fun variation. So stretch out long and straight, and then bring that top leg into the chest, hooking it down with that lower arm. Reach forward and circle, 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 circle. Big breath in. And 2 circles. And last one, 3rd circle. Excellent. And finishing in the back on this last circle. Grab the foot, stretch out the leg if you did so on the other side. Nice full breath. And relax and release. You can come back to the back, hug in those hips. We want to grab the ankles, give them a little kick out, a little bit of a happy baby. Feels nice and good. Give those knees a little bit of a circle as well. And gently roll yourself back up to sitting. Hopefully you feel rejuvenated. We have one more move. You're gonna take your right arm onto your left shoulder. You're gonna take your left arm onto your right shoulder. You're gonna give yourself a nice loving hug and thank yourself for taking care of yourself today. Self-care is radical and political, and you are helping other people when you take care of yourself. It helps you be here and be more present. And you know, if we want to be selfish, we feel good too. But hopefully you got a little something out of today's class. It's not meant to be a workout. Today should be a work in. So you should feel good now. If you have any questions or you just like to chat with me, feel free to drop something in the chat. Feel free to send me an email, molly@trainlikeMolly.com. And we'll have some more classes later this week. If there's any issues with streaming today, please forgive me. This is my first time streaming from my new space, and I also have a new computer with that. So hopefully I did enough back-end work to make that work. And hopefully you like my down-to-earth style, because this is not a corporate class. This is just me and you. And I want you to learn and grow and be a better, healthier, happier person on your own. I'm just here to help guide you, but your happiness and health does not depend on me or any other trainer. That being said, thank you for taking today's class. If you donated to support the National Lawyers Guild, extra special thank you to you. I'm very excited to donate again this year. The Lawyers Guild is a fantastic organization. I highly suggest you check them out. They support protesters on the front lines, people who need legal aid, people who need to be educated on how to navigate legal sources, and also helping prisoners learn legal information when they are in prison, and helping them take control of their own cases and their destiny. So in support of protesters and incarcerated individuals, unfairly incarcerated individuals, the National Lawyers Guild certainly does the most in response to helping those caught up in the judicial system. So thank you so much for that. Black Lives Matter, this day, every day, trans lives matter. And yeah, I'll just keep rambling on if I don't stop it. So love you, thank you for taking class, take care of yourself, and I'll see you at the next one.